everybody. I'm Jesse, and welcome to another edition of Gen X Thinks. And today, to kick this conversation off, I was going to talk about this executive order that Trump just signed. It's to move marijuana from a Schedule 1 drug to a Schedule 3 drug, or vice versa, something like that. Anyway, it's moving it down in the thing. It's not going to be in the same class of drug as heroin and cocaine and shit. It's going to be lower. Now, Fox in the Shed, what's up? How's it going, man? Glad to see you here. For those of you who don't know, who haven't, or either new to the channel or just didn't hear me talk about it before, I have no skin in the game. I don't smoke weed. I have in the past. I've tried it in the past. I just don't care for it personally. Just a personal thing. I just don't really like the shit. It's just I just get too bombed on it, and I've never really been able to enjoy it. I have no tolerance for it, and I'm just completely wasted and just stare at the ceiling for 6 hours and wishing it was over every single time I try it. So I just don't care for the shit. Dog Karma, what's up? Good morning, Dog Karma. Yeah, glad you're here, Fox. Glad you can make it, dude. But my thing with this whole moving it from a Schedule 1 to a Schedule 3 or whatever the hell, why wasn't that done 40 years ago? Why was it ever made a Schedule 1? What the hell is the deal with marijuana? And when you read this shit, what this is doing, I'm going to read just a couple points off here. Let me bring this shit up here for you. And I'm going to read a couple of points. Okay, so it's from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3. Schedule 1 drugs are considered to have no accepted medical use and high abuse potential. That's what it's been under for our entire lifetimes. All right. Schedule 3 drugs have moderate to low dependence potential and accepted medical uses. Why the hell has this shit been Schedule 1? I don't care for it. I don't use it. So like I said, I'm not coming from a perspective of a daily, from a pothead or whatever. I don't give a shit about weed. If the shit disappeared off the planet tomorrow, I wouldn't even notice. I wouldn't notice, except there'd be nothing, nobody'd be talking about it anymore or something. They'd be talking about it missing, but so this is just ridiculous that weed is up here to have no accepted medical use, okay, and high abuse potential. This has been the way the government has been treating this shit for my entire lifetime. Just mind-boggling shit. This is more a criticism of the government than it is about marijuana. You know what I mean? This conversation here. And what Trump is doing, he's not really doing anything with his executive order. He's not enacting anything. He's pressuring Congress and the Department of Justice to do this shit, right? And what it will do, it'll make easier medical research due to reduced restrictions, possible tax relief for cannabis businesses, better banking access for the industry, and broader study of benefits and risks. Now that last one there, broader study of benefits and risks. Tripwire, what's up, Trip? Glad to see you here. Ezekiel, hey, good morning. But this broader study of benefits and risks, how do we have something like marijuana, existing in our society, and we have not completely and totally studied the benefits and risks of it in 2025? How do we not know? And then that leads me down the path of, well, if the United States hasn't studied the benefits and risks, well, why can't we just ask France or Greece or whoever. Hey, what do y'all learned about marijuana over there? We're a bunch of dipshits over here, and we've got a class one, you know, narcotic. So have y'all found out anything about marijuana that you can kick us over here so we can, what? Now they'll globalize our jobs, our economy, and impoverish 3/4 of the population by sending all our jobs overseas with this globalism shit. But I guess when we talk about globalism, we're not talking about scientific research and that kind of shit. They're not going to share any of that shit, right? I guess I don't know. It just really stupid to me that they broader study of benefits and risks. They haven't studied the benefits and risks of marijuana into all of them in 2025. They don't know all of the benefits and risks of marijuana yet. What the hell is going on? You know what I mean? What the hell? I mean, seriously. So now Trump is doing this thing. He signed this executive order, and he's going to kick him in the ass, and I guess get him to do this shit. Why it wasn't done 40 years ago? Why these governments don't do stuff for the population to help people? I mean, how many maladies and afflictions could marijuana have alleviated or even cured or at least lessened the degree of suffering over the last 40 years? But it hasn't, because it's illegal. You know what I mean? They can give us opioids, painkillers, and get us addicted to those, and then quit. When we can't get them anymore, we got to go score smack on the streets and shit. They'll do that to us in a heartbeat, but they won't. How dare you? Smoke some weed? Holy shit! The devil's lettuce or whatever. The government is just too involved in our shit. People should be able to smoke weed if they want. What the hell? It's just ridiculous. Bucky, what's up, Bucky? Jack Mohack. Helps your pain, Jack? Yeah. And for the government to go in there and tell Jack that he is allowed or not allowed or whatever to use anything. But marijuana's the topic here. But marijuana to help his pain. It's his damn pain, and he should be able to use whatever he wants. You know what I mean? It's just utterly preposterous. All these laws and regulations set against us. But then our these huge corporations can basically do whatever the hell they want. They can lie and cheat and steal, lie to us about what's in our shit, in our food and stuff and all this, and do whatever they want. They can, like that bank, Wells Fargo, just opened up a bunch of accounts without even letting the people know they were doing it. The people didn't ask for the accounts. If you went into Wells Fargo at one point 10 years ago or so, you opened an account. After you left, they would open up 3 more accounts under your name. Yeah, just to boost their numbers or whatever they were doing. Yeah, and that kind of shit. Nobody went to jail. Somebody probably, they fined Wells Fargo or whatever, but they're still in business. They've got a Wells Fargo right down the road here. They're still in business. This kind of shit. So there aren't any real penalties for these corporations that screw us over, right? They're just, it's horrendous. It's insane the way decent, common, hardworking people are treated, and the way slimy corporations and politicians and shit are treated. The worst of society is elevated and treated like royalty. The absolute worst of society. The greediest, the most heartless and soulless among us are elevated to the top. The dumbest, it's insane. Arch Dragon, good morning, Arch Dragon. Glad to see you here. Oliver Rust, what's up, Oliver? Glad to see you here, Oliver. Glad you could make it. But yeah, and like I said, I don't give a shit about weed. I don't care. I really don't. Smoke it, don't smoke it. I don't give a shit. You know, if they made it completely illegal and wiped it off the face of the earth, it wouldn't change my lifestyle at all. But I believe other people should be able to do what the hell they want. You know, I believe if weed will help you in any way, just to relax and have an enjoyable evening, if that's what you want to use it for, whatever, you should be able to use the shit. Why does it take in the year 2025 for them to finally open it up for broader study of benefits and risks? Just now in 2025, and they still haven't done it. It's just Trump's executive order tells them that they should be doing it, I guess. Greases the wheels for doing it. They still haven't done it yet. So it'll be 2026 before they actually open it up for broader research in the United States in this day and age. We still, so that shit just blows my mind. Jody Furnish, what's up, Jody? Glad to see you here. Jeff 7, there he is. Jeff 7, how's it going, Jeff? Glad to see you here, man. But this just shines a spotlight on the governments, you know what I mean, and it's governments across Western civilization, probably all around the world. I see stuff like this, and most people see stuff like this, and they're like, "Yeah, go Trump." You know, Trump's gonna. But what it makes me ask is why didn't Reagan do this? Why didn't Carter do this? What the hell? Why has this ever been? Why was it ever like this in the first place? Why it's been ridiculous for decades, and just now they're starting to do something that they might do or might not do. We don't know yet. This might be just a smoke screen, just a something people get to talk about and shit for a while, and then never gets done. It might be one of those. So we don't know. Yeah, find a lawn to lay down in, huh, Bucky? Yeah, that's how I can't even do that shit. Michelle, what's up, Michelle? Glad to see you here. Glad you could make it. And for those of you who've watched me for a while, you know that I'm just about freedom. You know what I mean? That is the highest ideal, in my opinion, is freedom. Everything should be focused toward that goal. If it impedes our freedom, infringes on our freedom, then it needs to be thrown out. You know what I'm saying? Freedom is the most important thing. What the hell are we going to do without freedom? And they're taking away our freedoms, our liberties, a little bit at a time, year by year, decade by decade. We're less free, and what the hell else? Why would anybody choose anything else, convenience or safety or whatever, over freedom? I mean, we still have, how many generations? 4, 5 generations, 6 generations, something like that. Later, we still have people talking about slavery and how horrible slavery was and all this shit. You know what I mean? So we know how bad it is to not be free. We realize this. And all the people, well, not all the people, but the people who are loudest about slavery and all that, they're the ones who are the loudest about taking our freedoms today. They want our freedoms taken today. And if you keep taking somebody's freedom, keep taking it a little bit at a time, eventually they end up slaves. There's only so much freedom you can take from somebody before they're slaves. I mean, basically, in a way, we're debt slaves now. The world runs on debt, and we're slaves to that debt. You know what I'm saying? Where they, what's the difference if a slave goes out in the field and harvests a crop and the for the benefit of the slave owner? Then we go out and work in a convenience store or whatever, and then the government takes it from us. Not voluntarily, just take it. It's gone. Before you even get it, the government gets theirs before you even get yours. So, yeah, in a way, we're already slaves. We stopped being free a long time ago, completely free. And of course, there's a middle ground. You know what I mean? There's a middle ground. Nobody wants to be, well, only us crazy, truly crazy people want to be totally free. You know what I mean? But nobody wants to sacrifice all of the luxuries we have today. I don't want to be digging holes in my backyard to take a dump and stuff like that. I don't want to, I like conveniences and some luxuries, don't get me wrong. But there is a middle ground where we're pretty damn free. We don't have a surveillance state uh, watching us on our phones and spying on us all over the damn place. But we're still safe, relatively safe. And that again with the pendulum thing, we're swinging past that middle ground of safety and freedom, and we're going past that into totalitarian shit. Oh yeah, for in my experience, most people do, Michelle. Most people do. I mean, I'm the odd man out that I don't. You know what I mean? So yeah. Um, but when I talk about it, I just want everybody to know that where I'm at on the situation. I don't want to be up here um, and misleading people because I don't care for it. It's not my deal. I'll drink a couple beers once in a while or something, but to smoke, nah, it's just not my thing. But I believe everyone should have the right to. You know, yeah, we shouldn't give that shit to kids. We don't give alcohol to kids either. It's illegal. It should be illegal. We should have laws to protect kids, but not laws to protect us from ourselves. Those are the most heinous laws, in my opinion. Those are the most heinous laws enacted are the ones to protect us from ourselves. I don't need the government to protect me from myself. Thank you very much. I've got enough sense to put a seatbelt on. I'm a grown damn adult. I don't need Big Brother, fining me and taking my money and robbing me if I forget to put my seatbelt on one time in every 500 times I drive my vehicle, whatever. And that has happened. I forgot to put my seatbelt on one time in like decades, and of course that one time I get pulled over. The guy didn't give me a ticket, but still, he very easily could have. Um, yeah, yeah, exactly, Jody. And that happened to millions upon millions of people. Yeah, those painkillers, and they're highly addictive. People made billions of dollars off of them, got insanely rich, and basically destroyed many lives and many families along the way, and didn't give a shit. And nobody that now that corporation has actively gone out of business, but the people who owned it are still insanely rich. You know what I mean? They were protected by the corporate shield, but that it didn't hurt the people, the actual individual people who were selling that shit. Nobody, you know. Uh, but yeah, they did. The main corporation who was selling that oxycodone or whatever. Yeah, they went out of business. But it's not gonna, it's not gonna bring back the dead. Yeah, and for people now for future um, considerations, let's say, Now, if I am an evil scumbag and I want to, put out something that I know will hurt the population, I can look at that example and say, well, I can still get mega rich and just slough off that corporate entity anytime I want. Why not? You know, if I can somehow, I'm soulless enough to say, that millions of lives aren't enough of a deterrent. You know what I mean? So yeah, the government, they don't give a shit. They just don't give a shit. Nick, what's up, Nick? Yeah, yeah, Michelle. Yeah, some people don't drink, some people don't do weed, some people don't do anything, and to each their own. Everybody. But we should have that the opportunity, the freedom to make that choice. I don't need the government to make that choice for me. I don't care for weed. I just, it's my personal choice. I don't like the shit. But if I want to go out and buy some and try it again, I should be able to. 100%. There should be no, I shouldn't have to be afraid of my government because I wanted to smoke it. It's ridiculous. Yeah. Yeah, Arch Dragon, yeah. We've earned the right. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You're from Wisconsin, Rocker? All right. Yeah. Yeah, these laws and these victimless crimes and shit, I'm just against victimless crimes in my opinion. If you're not hurting anybody else or their property, what the hell does the government have to say to, except, and I always make this clarification, except to protect children and animals. They cannot protect themselves. All right. So yeah, kids have to be in car seats. It should be law that kids are in car seats, and stuff like that. But for an adult to be forced to wear a seatbelt, now I would, no, just like weed, I would wear a seatbelt. I don't give a shit what the law says. I would wear a seatbelt no matter what, you know. Uh, but yeah, working, yeah, it remains illegal federally. A matter of fact, this is what I was saying earlier. It's a class one narcotic. That's what they've got it at the federal level. That's what they've got it listed as a class one narcotic, and it's just completely ridiculous. That's just the dumbest shit. Well, not the dumbest shit. When we're talking about the government, they do even dumber shit than that. But it just kills me that it's taken until 2025 for anyone to even get the ball rolling to get it knocked down to a class three. You know what I'm saying? It's 2025. This shit should have been done in the 80s or 90s, some shit like that. People have had marijuana for thousands of years, and we're just now being able to open it up to broader study of benefits and risks. They're so damn stupid up there. Either stupid or just evil, or it's both. It's both. They're stupid and evil in the government. Grateful for dispensaries, yeah. Yeah, who does it hurt, Jody, if you don't put your seatbelt on? Well, the seatbelt only helps you after you've been in a wreck. Once the wreck starts, it's not going to prevent a wreck. It cannot prevent a wreck. So who gives a shit if I want to take the risk of just allowing the airbag to save me? You know. But the government, yeah, tickets $150. Yeah, it's just another tax. It's robbery, just like the rest of that shit. It's when you it just takes a second to look at it and realize that it's just highway robbery, literally. Yeah, it's all about money, and money's about control. They rob us coming and going, right? They can put people in prison. That's another aspect of it. That they have to keep the prisons at 95% capacity by law. They signed the contract. Okay, that they have to do that. So a lot of these states don't want to make marijuana legal because that'll make it harder for them to keep their prisons at 95% capacity. It's got nothing to do with whether marijuana is dangerous or whether it's good for you or any of this kind of stuff. It's about keeping the prisons at 95% capacity. And once people start understanding this kind of shit, why some of these states are hesitant to allow marijuana to be legal, that it's about money, it's about contracts, it's about all kinds of shit that they don't tell us about. They don't just come out and say, yeah, we know marijuana doesn't really hurt anybody and it helps a lot more people than it will ever hurt. But we need to keep putting y'all in prison. What are we going to do? If we'll have to make other laws for y'all to break so we can keep our prison population at 95%. So we don't, renege on our contract. So yeah, we can't do that. So y'all, so it's that kind of shit. And guaranteed, even those states that have made it legal, they're still keeping their prisons at 95% capacity. Yeah. So they've either passed other laws to arrested more people, put more cops on the streets, something. They're still keeping those prisons at capacity, even though they stopped arresting people for marijuana. They're just arresting more people for other shit, guaranteed. Yeah, that private prison industry, which most people don't know is a private industry. They're not state or federal run, most of them. Yeah, that's another racket that keeps us enslaved. Yeah, kids need to be in car seats. Yeah. You flew through the windshield? No shit. Yeah, and still standing, huh, Jody? All right. Yeah, kids need to be in car seats. I completely support laws that protect children and animals, both, because they cannot protect themselves. Zombie, what's up, Zombie? Glad to see you here, man. Yeah, the Hearst Empire. All right. Yeah. Or I don't know. Well, I would. They just need to leave, Michelle, around Congress. Those people just need to leave. Um, they need eviction notices. You know what I mean? Get them the hell out of there. Yeah, forced car insurance. Yep, yep. That's a tough one because people driving around without insurance and then you wreck somebody else's car. So I understand that, but there should be a different. They could have done it a different way. They didn't have to pass laws to force everyone to buy car insurance and just take more of your money by force. There could have been other ways to deal with that. Uh, and then if you do get in a wreck, they jack your rates up, and they won't pass laws and regulations against these insurance companies to stop them from jacking our rates up. If we do, heaven forbid, need to use the thing that we've been paying for the last 30 years. I've never been in an auto accident. Not at fault, you know what I mean? I've never been in an at fault auto accident. I was in the only car wreck I've ever been in, and somebody else was driving, and there was no other vehicles involved. The dude just rolled off in a ditch, screwing around. We were teenagers, and but for them to allow these insurance companies to just rob us blind, And these insurance companies, of course, their profits are soaring, record profits and shit, uh, every kind of insurance, And here in Florida, it gets bad because we'll have a bad hurricane come through, and then, yeah, they just won't insure you anymore. Yep. And when you do need to use your insurance, they fight you tooth and nail. I've been paying for insurance for 30 years now. But I can't, I don't even want to do the math of how much money I've just given them to be within the law and be allowed to drive my vehicle. Never used it. And if I did need to use just a small portion of what I put into it, yeah, they'd fight me tooth and nail. They wouldn't want to cover it. It's just bullshit. Same thing with medical. That's even more horrible. You've got medical insurance, but when it's time for the insurance to pay up when you actually need it, oh yeah, no, they're not going to do that. You're not covered. We changed that. We sent you an email 6 months ago, 19 pages long in small print, and on page 18 subparagraph 2 it said that you're not covered under this shit. You know what I mean? It's just it's dog shit. It really is. Working, what's up? Yeah. I don't know. I haven't checked it recently here working, but it's illegal to collect rain. It was, but I think it still is illegal to collect rainwater. Period. We're at 110 gallons. It's 0 gallons here. You cannot collect 1 gallon legally here. So yeah, used to be anyway. I don't know if they've changed it, but yeah, that another bullshit law. You know, just because. Why not? We're the government and we can, so why not? You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah, Nick. And when you think about it, what is money? Money is just a representation of your time. You have to spend time to get money. I don't give a shit no matter what outlook, which direction you look at it. That's what time is. I mean, that's what money is. It's your time. Whether it took you 5 seconds to get the money or 5 years, it's your time. So yeah, the government and corporations are taking chunks of your life. They're taking your life away from you. They're robbing you of your life, and that is literally what they are doing. And they're once you see it in that light, you can't unsee it, and that's what's happening. They're taking our lives. They have been for decades. And but we've allowed it. But as I said before, we were born into it. When I was born, taxes were just a thing. That was just the way it was. It was taxes. I didn't realize until I was probably in my 30s or 40s that the Federal Reserve, that central bank, is privately owned. That's not part of the government. I mean, I was a grown ass adult, but I wasn't taught that in school. And then, hey, that's the only reason we have taxes is because of the Federal Reserve, which is privately owned. The federal government lived on tariffs before that. We didn't have any income taxes, really, until 1913. Holy shit, that's mind blowing when you first realize that. So we're born into this system, and the system is the matrix, and we don't understand. What the hell? It takes a while. You don't even know what to research when you're raised up to just assume and have no reason not to believe that the Federal Reserve is part of the federal government. It's named the Federal Reserve, right? So we're just indoctrinated into this society, this system of control. We just grow up in it. It seems normal. I pay my taxes. I'm a good American. I pay my taxes. You know what I'm saying? But when you start waking up to this shit, you're like, what the hell? What are we doing? And the sad fact is, most people don't. They don't wake up to it. The majority of the population do not realize that the Federal Reserve is a privately owned bank, and they lend money to our government, and our taxes just go to pay that money back. And they don't even do that. It doesn't even do that. We're not even covering the interest on the 38 trillion that we owe now. So but you slowly wake up to this shit. So I'm not, when I say that we allowed it, yes, but in a way that, you have to realize that we were born into the system. We didn't even realize that, that the system was bad. It was just a system, and you're raised up in this shit. Who actually allowed it was the generation of 1913 when they implemented the income tax, and they just said okay because they were lied to and they were told it was temporary, and they said okay. The population back then in 1913, they said okay, we'll take this temporary income tax, and this is how temporary it is. Now it's at like 30%. Back then it was, I think, 3% or something, 10% maybe, something like that. They accepted as temporary, and that was it. And then they had the Depression. So when they got, come out of the Depression, they were just so happy to have jobs that they weren't going to cry about the income tax. I'm just so happy to have food now. I've been starving for the last 3 years. I'm so happy to have a job. Let the government take their little cut. And we come out of the Depression, and man, there was never another question asked. So yeah, Nick, it's illegal to collect rain. Well, it used to be in Florida. I haven't looked into it here, and actually looked it up to find out, and it was illegal. But I don't know, 5-6 years ago, last time I checked into it. But yeah, Nick, 100% illegal to collect rainwater. Yeah, off grid, completely self-sustaining. That's the only way to really be free, Michelle. Yeah, we have to get off of the grid, period. I mean the grid as in, grocery store, everything. Get completely off the grid to be truly free. Now, we can have different levels of freedom and be off the grid in varying degrees, but yeah. Yeah, yeah, Jody. Yeah, we pay registration fees for our cars, then we pay insurance to drive our cars. What does insurance pay for? Jody asks. Insurance pays for insurance corporations' profits. They're making record profits. Their profits go up. They don't stay flat. They don't make, oh, we made $1 billion this year, so we'll make $1 billion next year. That's not how that shit works. If they stay flat and they only make the same amount of profit that they did next year, that's bad. That's one of the worst things that can happen. So they must increase their profits. So they must make more profits next year. And the only way to do that is to screw over their customer base, because that's where they get their profits from. So yeah, they can't make a better good. They're just selling insurance. They can't make a better product and crank out a better product and sell a better product to people and make more money. They just must screw you over. Yeah, yeah, Nick. Yeah, yep. It's their collection agency. The Fed is a foreign privately owned bank. Yes. Yep. Yeah, Nick, there's no legitimate reason for taxation. Absolutely. Our taxes just go into this big black hole of debt. They could stop collecting taxes right now and it would not change a damn thing. It would not change a thing. We're at 38 trillion debt. Who gives a shit if we're 48 trillion or 58 or whatever? It's the number is so astronomical now that we can't even process it. We can say the words 38 trillion, but do we really understand what 38 trillion? How long it would take to pay that debt off? How many generations down the line would it would take? So there there's no real point in collecting taxes anymore. It's just, honestly, in the real world, there's no point. We're not going to pay that debt off. It's too large now. So just throwing our money in that black hole, it's not like if the bank can lend the American government $38 trillion, why do they need our taxes? Why do they need my part of my paycheck, my tiny little paycheck? If they have enough money to lend the government, the United States government, $38 trillion, they don't need our tax money. That's not going to collapse the economy or anything if they just quit taxing the American people. It would not do a damn thing. It would not change anything. They would still have trillions and trillions more to lend to the United States government. So yeah, it's all a big scheme. It's all bullshit. I'm not even saying that facetiously. Just it's all bullshit. No, it is all bullshit. It's literally just a pack of lies. Our taxes are completely meaningless. It's just a way to control us, a way to keep us impoverished. That's all it is. It doesn't do anything. They don't take my tax money and give it to welfare recipients. That's not what happens. They don't take my tax money and give it to Israel or Greece or Spain or whoever. That's not how it happens. They borrow that money from the bank and then give that money away and then tax me and throw that money in the black hole of debt. That's where my money goes, right in that black hole of debt. And that's how it actually works. Yeah, most of our food is illegal in other parts of the world, Michelle. In Europe, that shit is illegal. They can't. They're not allowed to put that shit on people's food in Europe. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, Nick. The National Guard replaced the state militia. Yeah. Yeah, those Kinder eggs. I was talking to, I think it was somebody from Germany. I didn't even know what the hell a Kinder egg was. But yeah, yeah, you're right. And that's another thing. I read an article, zombie, about a dude that got popped coming across the border with just a couple of Kinder eggs in his stuff, and the FBI busted him and drug him off to jail and shit because he had a couple of Kinder eggs. It wasn't like a semi truck full of them. I mean, like a couple in his pocket. The FBI wasting resources on this bullshit. Yeah, I mean, come on. We're so stupid at the government level. It's so ridiculous that yeah, working. Listen to that bullshit. You cannot sell candy with a non-nutritive object. Like candy is nutritious. Candy is a non-nutritive object. It's chemicals and shit. So yeah, that kind of shit. Oh man, that's aggravating. Yeah, yeah. Well, we're exercising our First Amendment right here, Michelle. Yeah, for now, as long as we're able to. Still, I have to self-censor here, and you have to self-censor in the chat there, or the AI will scrub your shit. I've been accused of deleting. I have never. I've been doing YouTube now for a couple years. I have never, not once, deleted a comment, but many, many, many people have accused me of it. And I gotta explain to them, that's not me, dude. Complain to YouTube's AI. They're scrubbing your shit. I don't delete comments. I do not delete comments. I don't care what you say to me. Number one, it's not gonna bother me. I don't give a shit. Whatever. You know what I'm saying? I don't give a shit what people think of me. I'm too old or I'm too ugly or whatever. I don't give a shit. So yeah, I don't delete comments. I leave that to YouTube. They delete more comments than I ever could. So if your shit gets deleted, yeah, I'm not censoring you. I've never deleted a comment, but YouTube will censor us quick. Yeah. British Admiralty law of the seas upon the land. Yeah, Nick. Yeah, it's their way of throttling your quality of life. Yeah. Okay, Bucky, be cool, man. We'll see you later, buddy. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Jody, I know. It's a mixed bag. There are a lot of stupid politicians, but the people behind them, I'm calling them stupid. Calling these people stupid is like, watching the Muppets and calling the puppets stupid. You know what I mean? Where the puppet master behind there controlling the damn thing knows exactly what they're doing. They know what's going on. They've got the puppet floundering around up there on stage and looking like a clown or whatever, but the puppet master is actually the one controlling the show. So me calling politicians stupid and shit is exactly like that. Me pointing to a puppet and saying, "Oh, look at that stupid son of a bitch." I'll be, yeah, it's wrong. I'm stupid for doing it. But yeah, um, we need to wake up to this kind of bullshit. And like I've said before, not even, even if you don't want to change the world and shit, like we can just ride this some bitch out and over the horizon and we'll see where it goes. I'm not, I'm not, uh, not trying to talk people into changing the world, although we probably should, in all honesty. But at the very least, go into our destiny, into the future with our eyes open and both middle fingers in the air, to the powers that be. They didn't pull the wool over our eyes. At least we're awake, you know. At least we realize a fraction, even maybe, of what's going on. That all this shit is robbery. We're in a system. It's not like we're open the door and you allow a guy with a ski mask on to walk in. It's not like that kind of robbery. It's not that naive and stupid. We're in a total complete system that we were born into, and the difficult part is to open your eyes and look around and see the Matrix, right? When you saw the movie The Matrix, you didn't think Neo was stupid when he finally opened his eyes and looked around and said, "Holy shit, look what's going on." You know what I'm saying? So we shouldn't feel stupid when we look around and see what the hell is actually going on, because we've been born and raised in a system. It's the same thing. So yeah, I don't. I think we're just waking up. I really don't think we're stupid on that kind of level. Were you Neil Diamond movie on Christmas zombie? All right, dude. All right. Yeah. Neil Diamond. Holy shit. I don't even know if I've heard that name in decades. Yeah, Nick, censorship. Yep. Yeah, that's controlling the language, controlling the narrative. It all starts there. If we, let's just say Gen X things, if we actually, this group of people here, if more and more people stay here and more people start contributing to these conversations and more people start waking up, and not the crazy kind of wake up, the all that crazy conspiracy theory shit, although we do get into some conspiracy theories, but this is just an invitation to think. That's all it is. It's an invitation to think. So if more and more people start doing that, that becomes dangerous. You get enough people to start thinking, and now you're in trouble. The powers that be are in trouble because they need thoughtless sheep to exist. to enact their will upon us. The majority of us need to be thoughtless sheep. You know what I mean? So, this is just, this is a beginning of something, maybe, hopefully, even if somebody else, starts to wake up, and maybe this is, you know, Sarah Connor thing or something, or John Connor waking up, and you don't know. There might be a John Connor out there that stumbles across this shit. Us talking about freedom and control and all this stuff, and it could change the world. You never know. Anything's possible. Oh, in Nuremberg, Germany, as a military brat, yeah. I had a couple of buddies who were stationed in Germany. They loved it. Yeah, Nick. Yeah, protein, omega 3, saturated fats, amino acids, and enzymes. Yeah, these chemicals they're feeding us. Yeah, yeah. AI AI is bad news for us, I believe, because of the people in control of it. In itself, AI in itself is just a tool. You know what I mean? A tool isn't bad. A hammer laying there, if a carpenter picks it up, he'll build something nice. If Jack the Ripper picks up a hammer, it's a completely different object. So yeah, that's exactly what I think AI is. It depends on who created it, who is using it, and that kind of thing. All right, Jody. Yeah, let's get it started. Start right here. Wait, all of us, each of us, if you think about it, think about like a million piece puzzle, right? And each of us might have one piece of that puzzle. And here in these conversations, we can start fitting these pieces together. All right, okay? Jody brings her piece, and I bring my piece, and Nick brings one, and Trip brings one, and you know, Michelle and Dog Karma, we all bring our pieces and we put them together, and then the picture starts coming into focus. You know what I'm saying? That's what we can contribute. Just one of the things we can contribute over there in Australia. That might be the hub. That might be the what do you call that, the center point of the wave. The of wherever I'm mind blanking on that, but the where the bomb hits, and the shock waves go out, that point there might be Australia, because they're standing up over there and they're starting to push back against all this shit, trying to save their country. And that's so important. And Tripwire is a part of that. And we see that shit going on in Australia, and it's the same shit going on over here, the same shit going on in England, the same shit going on in Canada, in France. It's across Western civilization. And each one of these countries has their version of the Federal Reserve. You don't realize that, but they have a Federal Reserve. Their countries run just like ours. Their Federal Reserve, it's called something else, but to trick them into thinking it's part of their government, it lends money to their government, and then they're taxed. It's across the world like that. So yeah, it's not just America. Yeah, yeah, Nick. Yeah, if you're in this chat and you're contributing to this conversation, then you are the resistance. And there's no telling what can happen from this, where this can go, what can how far this will go. This knowledge, this awakening, this uh, truth, opening our eyes to the truth of what's happening. There's the sky's the limit. V Intuitive, what's up? Glad to see you here, V. Yeah. Yeah, I'm your Huckleberry. Yeah, Jody. Yep. Yeah, AI. Yeah. I've seen AI be useful. Don't get me wrong. Then I've seen AI be a complete. It just seems like. But there are different AIs for different things. But in in the long run, it's going to be bad. Well, maybe in the short term, I don't know, but it's going to be bad for humanity just because it's going to take a lot of jobs. It's going to put a lot of people out of work. At the very least, that's what it's going to do. Seen the movie Together? No, no, V, I haven't. Point of Impact. Okay, Arch, thank you. Yeah, that's the. Yeah, I completely mind blanked on it. Yeah, yeah, V. I've heard that before. They've done it in the past. They'll drive their tractors in from out in the country and just, park all the way around Parliament. Sometimes, yeah. Yeah, those farmers, they get riled up and they'll stand up for their shit over there in Europe. Our farmers have just been bought out. We don't have farmers like that over here. Uh, Bill Gates is the number one owner of farmland in the United States of America. For those of you who don't know, go ahead and, if you have time, don't go ahead and research that. Research some of the shit that Bill Gates is into. That's eye opening. Yeah, about anything that soulless evil sack of shit is into is bad for humanity. Just about everything that he's dabbled his little fingers into is bad for humanity. You want to go down a rabbit hole. Just anything that Bill Gates is in. Yeah, plowing trees over, living forests, and burying them under the ground in the name of climate change. You think I'm bullshitting? Look it up. Yeah, that dude is a monster. When as far as humanity goes, not toward individuals like Jack the Ripper, but yeah, toward humanity, the guy's a monster. Yeah. All right, Ezekiel. Well, it's time for me to go too, everybody. I'll leave you on that note with Bill Gates is a monster, and look it up if you don't believe me. Yeah. Yeah, that needs to be drug off to a prison. Lake, hey, just another guy in the woods. Glad to see you here. I gotta go though, Lake. Sorry I missed you, buddy. I'll talk to you this evening though. All right, so I'll say goodbye to Tripwire, Michelle, V Intuitive, Lake, Nick, Jeff Seven. Who else we got? Ezekiel, Arch Dragon, Jody. I think Bucky already left us. Jack Mohack. Did I say Nick already? Dog Karma, working. All right, who else we got here? Rocker was here. I don't know if he's still around, but Rocker was here at one point. Oliver Rust. Can't forget my boy Oliver. He's here almost every single live stream. Fox in a Shed. All right, I think I got everybody, but if I missed your name, goodbye to you as well. I appreciate your time, but I've got to go get ready for work and get on with my day. So, everybody, y'all have a great weekend, have a great Friday, and thank you for showing up. Thank you for hanging out with me. Zombie! Oh yeah, dude. Me neither, dude. Yeah, no, I don't want to go to work either. I wish I could do this for a living and just, make videos and stuff. A lot of people do. Maybe I'll get there one day. But yeah, I don't want to go out there and bust my ass all day. But it's my fate. And we go out there and we make some money, give away another day of our life so the government can steal part of it. So that's where we're at. So, yeah. thank you for showing up. Thank you for hanging out with me. Thank you for your input and your contribution to the conversation. And maybe somebody, some Gen Zer or some millennial or somebody will stumble across this episode and it'll wake somebody up. It'll make somebody else start asking questions and start thinking for themselves. If we can do that, then it's a positive thing. I think it's all worth it. So that, and just the camaraderie, of talking to other like-minded, sane people, common sense using, truth-loving, freedom-loving people. It doesn't get better than that, right? All right, so I'll let you go. Leave you there with that, and goodbye, everybody. Thanks again for showing up and hanging out with me. I appreciate it. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, subscribe, and comment. If you'd like to support Gen X Thinks by becoming a member, I'll put that link down in the description, or you can head over to the channel page and become a member that way. I appreciate all the members down in the banner down here. Their support is invaluable, so thank you very much to all the existing members. I really do appreciate it. If you'd like to support the channel directly, you can do so by clicking on that super thanks button down there. Or you can hit that hype button. The hype button is something new that YouTube has come up with for smaller channels like mine, and I really do appreciate those of you who take a second and punch that hype button for me. It helps out a lot, so thank you very much. If you're interested in Gen X gear, we got some pretty cool stuff over there at Redbubble. Gen X Thinks and Gen X branded stuff, t-shirts, coffee mugs, ball caps, stickers, all kinds of cool stuff. But I'll leave that link down in the description for any of you who are interested. If you can't or don't want to support the channel in any of those ways, you can always do so by sharing these videos on your social media. That helps out one hell of a lot, so thank you very much to those of you who do that. And if you have any ideas for future episodes of Gen X Thinks, please put those down in the comments. Or you can email us, and the email is genxthinks@gmail.com. And as always, stay frosty, Gen X, and I'll see you on the next one.